Y'all already know what's going on, man. It's your boy Stefan with Born Great, and we in Born Great Studios right now. And y'all already know the vibes, man. On today's video, we're getting just a tad bit personal. Not too personal, but just a little personal. And I'm gonna share with y'all a little something, you know what I'm saying? You gotta understand one of several things, right? As a man or as men, we have a duty to put into fruition our vision that we receive from the Most High, via God, via your higher self, via the universe. The highest aspect of you gives you a vision. And it is up to you as a man to bring this vision into fruition. Or not. Now, either way it go, bringing it into fruition or not, look, both of them painful. You choose your pain. You got to understand one of several things. Every time you grow, you're put under pressure. Every time you decide to shift your mind and say, hey, I'm going this way and I'm not going this way anymore, there's pressure. There's pressure that comes with growth. Every time. I don't give a fuck how you look at it. I don't give a fuck how you view it. There's pressure that comes with this shit. And the thing about it is, it ain't even that hard. It's only as hard as you make it. The reason that the pressure seems so hard is because of how you viewing it, right? So if you viewing yourself as a fucking diamond in the dirt, or a piece of charcoal being formed into a diamond, it is easier, or how can I say this, less pressure on your psyche to get your goals done when you viewing yourself as a diamond. But if you viewing yourself as a fucking victim, a bitch, you saying, why is this happening to me? Why is life fucking me up? Why are people looking at me like this? That's simply because that's the way that you're fucking viewing it. Self-love is the best love. What do I mean by that? Self-love is the best motherfucking love. And every time you decide to go the way that you need to go to bring your vision into fruition, you're choosing self-love. Right? You know what I'm saying? And every time, like I just said earlier in the video, every time you choose to go in that direction in which you need to go to get your goddamn goals done, there's always your old self or your old frequency that's gonna knock at the goddamn door and say, hey man, you leaving me to die. Hey man, you leaving me to die. I need you to understand that, hey, you're gonna die 1,000 fucking times. Death and creation, death and rebirth is the exact same thing. Death and birth is the exact same thing. The law of polarity states, and universal law, that everything has an opposite. Death and creation are the same energies based upon how you're viewing it. So if you're dying to your old ways, that means you're being reborn to your new ways, right? So if you have a vision, there's a version of you that is already existent in that vision, and that's where you're becoming. That is that diamond. But you got to understand this. In order to become that version of you, you have to die to your old ways. Damn near 1,000 times. This is a consistent 25/8 thing. Fuck 24/7, bro. Because sometimes you got to be up 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. You know what I'm saying? To make this shit happen. But I need you to understand one thing. You're voluntarily suffering once you make some shit seem like it's not your fault. You give external sources the power once you rely on these things to fulfill you. Right? And that gets to the point of my goddamn video. I stopped smoking weed. Why did I stop smoking weed? I stopped smoking weed because when I started smoking weed, I had a void within myself, unconsciously, right? And so I would dive into getting high or feeling different than what I was feeling in the current reality with a sense of guilt knowing damn well that I could be more of my higher self or my best self if I had a clear mind. There's nothing wrong with smoking weed. But my thing is, I decided to stop. And this is what it's done for me. I have another level of clarity and articulation to bring my thoughts or my dreams into fruition, into a reality, without second guessing myself or self-sabotage. Because once you second guess yourself, you self-sabotage the potential aspect of you that is that goddamn diamond. Right? That version of you had to sacrifice or has to sacrifice what it is that you're using right now as a fulfilling mechanism for external sources. And for me, it was smoking. It was something that I did every day. That was my guilty pleasure. There's no such thing as a fucking guilty pleasure in life, bro. You shouldn't feel fucking guilty for pleasure. Let's just say this. You shouldn't feel fucking guilty for feeling good, right? And the reason that it was a guilty pleasure for me, because it was a quick way of feeling good. Instead of dealing with what the fuck I had to deal with in reality. You know what I'm saying? Unconsciously. These are things that I learned during the domino effect once I decided to choose the path of sobriety. There's nothing wrong with being high or smoking weed. What I'm saying is, this is my experience. You know what I'm saying? So if you find yourself in my shoes, or if you find yourself utilizing external sources to fill a void within, you have an addiction. I don't give a fuck if it's, you can be addicted to, we just gonna use weed and alcohol. You could be addicted to alcohol. You could be addicted to weed. You know what I'm saying? It's not the exact plant that you're addicted to. It's the fact that you feel like once I indulge in this, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way. Right? So then this external source has control over you. And every time you indulge, you relapse or you take 4 steps backwards when you're meant to take 2 steps forward in your growth journey. Right? And so every time you indulge in said activity and feel guilt, shame, or these negative low frequencies, these negative low frequency emotions, you give this external source a reinstatement in your reality and you give it power. I was able to quit cold turkey, not because I'm like, fuck it, I just need to stop. I quickly shifted in my mind how I view what it is that I was doing. Right? It's for everybody. Everybody's reason is different. But what I'm saying is the process doesn't have to be hard. It's a flip a switch in the mind. You have to understand that right now, here in this present moment, I am fulfilled. I am filled with everything. I am complete. Do that. Try that. Sit with yourself into solitude and pay attention and see if you even want to indulge in said substance. Ask yourself when you get to a meditative theta state or a relaxed state, why do I do this? Trace it back if you can to the first time that you indulged in your guilty pleasure or your vice. You will find out a lot about yourself. You probably find out like, hey, I started smoking because I was feeling like this one day and it became a habitual thing because it was an escape from reality. I don't give a fuck if it was a goddamn, if you was going through a breakup, if you was going through an injury, if you was going through a separation anxiety, trace it back to its origin point and gain your fucking control back. And understand that anytime in the future, if you do decide to indulge in said activity, that you're not doing it out of a place of unfulfillment. already be fulfilled before you decide to pick up the blunt, pick up the bottle, pick up the cup, or pop a pill. Because I can't control what you do. Only you can control what you do. But what I'm saying is, the reason that I chose clarity and sobriety is simply because the vision that I got from God needed to be brought into fruition without self-sabotage. For me, at least. Self-sabotage was going back to that version of myself that picked it up the first time, feeling unfulfilled. And the domino effect of being sober or having this space of clarity within my mind without indulging in external substances, feeling guilty about it, is that I am more fulfilled within myself. I'm consistently happy. I'm not depressed. I'm not paranoid. I'm not anxious. These are unconscious things that build up over time. When you smoke it for no reason, this is like this. I bet I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And it keeps stacking until it gets to a fucking mountain. And then it becomes, okay, what the fuck is going on? I can't function without this. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't see myself not utilizing this because I've utilized this every day for X amount of years, X amount of time. You gain your fucking power back once you understand that from the origin point, once you started abusing yourself by utilizing this substance to escape reality, that you, hold on. Oh, okay. You gain your power back once you realize this, because you understand that there is a void that needs to be filled. And you go back in time in your mind and fill this void by changing the scenario of whatever traumatized you into using an external substance. You go in your mind and you change the scenario to something positive. Because a lot of the time what happens is we get overwhelmed. A lot of the times what happens is, as humans, we get overwhelmed with all the information that we're receiving. And since you've been utilizing said substance to cure your anxiety or your depression or your overwhelm or your injury, etc., that is the go-to. But no, you have to understand this. You have to sit with yourself and be with yourself in the present moment. Now, you click another motherfucker videos, they're going to tell you, hey, you're going to go through withdrawals, etc., Listen, bitch. That's up to you. That's up to you if you want to bask in fucking sadness. That's up to you if you became a lazy piece of shit. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a lazy person. So it was not hard for me to indulge in activities that brought activities of self-love, such as going to go meditate out in nature, going to go ground, etc., doing the things necessary to build stability in my reality in which I wouldn't have to escape it anymore. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense to you. So if your situation is, hey, I'm smoking because I was beat the fuck up when I was a kid and I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, you gotta understand that once you're in a meditative theta state, you have to program your subconscious mind and say, that is no longer happening. I am voluntarily revisiting this moment and suffering because I am imagining. Now listen to this. The subconscious mind, or the mind, does not know the difference between reality and imagination. It perceives both of them the exact fucking same, right? So you're suffering in your imagination willingly because you're revisiting this same scenario over and over and over again, right? Just like doing it for no reason, you're building a mountain of energy, a frequency, your old frequency. You're building this mountain up in your mind of suffering. So the more and more you indulge in suffering, the stronger and stronger it gets. So whenever you try to go this way towards that diamond or your highest version of yourself, that old frequency, that mountain of bullshit that you've been building up because you've been constantly experiencing that via imagination, that is what's been holding you back. Not the weed, not the alcohol. It's you, goddammit. You have to change your frequency. Shift your frequency to a higher awareness, my guy. And understand that, hey, I have the ability to go into my imagination and rechange the results of this scenario to something more beneficial. And so fulfill yourself with love in the situation that you went through that got you to use an external substance to fill a void. And that is how I stopped smoking weed. No, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. That was my first thing. I stopped victimizing myself, and I stopped victimizing the fact that I was smoking and saying that, okay, there's something wrong with this. No, it's not. It's nothing wrong with smoking weed because weed ain't the issue. It's you. And if you can't put the weed down, it's simply because you're relying on it, or it's simply because you're relying on it, or you feel like you need it. And once you feel like you need something, a need is basically something you cannot live without. Fucking water is a need. You know what I'm saying? Fucking air is a need. You know what I'm saying? Those are shit that you can't, quote unquote, live without until you get to a higher awareness type shit and you start fasting and shit. But what I'm saying is, stop making this shit more complicated than what it really is. And see the domino effect in your life. And if you need help, or if you perceive yourself as wanting help to stop yourself from being controlled by something externally, rewind this video 1,000,000 times. The only truth in reality is what the subconscious mind perceives as true. Is what you tell yourself is true. And if you're reinforcing this situation in your mind that happened to you, that traumatized you, quote unquote, that you're reliving every day and escaping from every fucking day, then you're reinforcing the fucking strengths of it. So you have to change the scenario within your imagination. Because once you do that, then your subconscious mind, after repetitively, or you could program it while you fucking in a theta state, a meditative state, patterns, symbols, things like that. Once you reprogram your imagination, the truths in your mind will shift, because the only truths in reality are what you perceive as true. And if you love this fucking video, stay tuned for more. Thank you. Hey, here's a challenge. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to get 1% better every day. It doesn't matter what the day looks like or what you do specifically. Just get 1% better. Make tomorrow better than today. Make yesterday look like shit today. You know what I'm saying? I said I love myself, I trust myself, I did it again. Trusting God all the time, train hit it again. I'm by my guala, by my Benjamins, I did it.